people love the chips and they love the junk food. No matter which country you are in the world, people love that, and munching down KFC and cheeseburgers and everything else.
When you have a bad diet, generally, you suffer from brain fog.
Some people only train 2 times a week and they still grow. I mean, that's old school philosophy.
I felt I aged more in my mid-40s, where I feel I have much more energy today.
Welcome to the Longevity Podcast with your hosts Anthony from B40 Body Labs, along with Faisal from Q for Better You. We're here to call out the lies and give you the real blueprint to stay strong, lean, and dangerous well into your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. We're talking real training, real nutrition, peptides, biohacking, and recovery. No fluff, just what actually works. If you want to look better, perform better, and outlive everyone playing small, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Time passes to everyone, but aging doesn't feel the same for everyone. Some bodies slow down early, some stay powerful for decades. The difference isn't just years lived, it's energy maintained. You're not your age, you're your energy. Welcome to Longevity Podcast Episode 2. Our topic today, can aging be slowed, stopped, or even reversed? Let's get cracking. Good morning, Anthony. We're back for round 2.
Yep, podcast number 2. It's great to be here.
Yeah, good to have you here as well.
Yeah.
I keep hearing this narrative.
Yeah.
You are your energy, not your age.
Right.
And that resonates with a lot of anti-aging discussion.
Yeah.
So I thought we could touch on that today.
Okay.
And give a better understanding to our viewers.
Okay.
Is there a secret behind anti-aging? Can you reverse your age?
Well, I mean, that's a good question, right? Can you become biologically younger, right? I mean, that's the big question. Chronologically, you can't, right? You can't, I'm 66, you can't be younger that way. But just going through my biomarkers and my testing that I've done, I've got a biological age of 47.
Wow.
All right. So I've taken a bunch of years off, my biological age. And how do you measure that type of stuff, right? And so what do you do? So I think that the main part of all of this is lifestyle, right? Lifestyle, it goes back to our 4 pillars. Exactly what it is. It's strength training, progressive strength training, just doing something. If you're sitting at a desk all day for 12 hours a day and you're doing absolutely nothing, right, that's going to affect your health span. Your lifespan maybe, but your health span for sure, it will affect that, right? So things like that. I mean, if you're not walking every day, there are some simple things you could do. If you can take 12,000 steps a day, 10,000 steps a day, 8,000 steps a day, that reduces the mortality rate by a long shot, just by doing simple things like that, right? I mean, there's ways that you can measure your biological age. I mean, a lot of this stuff is, metabolic health markers, inflammation markers, VO2 max,
right.
What was the other one? Muscle mass, of course, keeping your muscle mass. And how do you keep your muscle mass is the number 1 pillar, right?
Right.
And that's just doing strength training. And it doesn't have to be in the gym. It doesn't have to be, at home in a home gym, whatever. It could be doing push-ups, calisthenics, whatever, as long as your body is moving all the time, And another thing that scientists use is called DNA methylation also. So they look at, how your body's degrading over time, right?
Right.
So little things like that contribute to your longevity, but it also contributes to your metabolic health, which contributes directly to your biological age, right? So you don't have to look at it from a perspective of, just living longer. It's you want to live longer, healthier, right?
Yeah,
as you push yourself forward.
Yeah.
So, I mean, modern science has a bunch of ways of actually measuring all of those functions, right? And, you could do things like, for instance, for chronic inflammation, the number 1 thing is changing your diet. You don't have to pop a pill, a pharmaceutical, whatever. You can just change your diet. And no more processed carbs. People love the chips and they love the junk food. No matter which country you are in the world, people love that. And munching down KFC and cheeseburgers and everything else. But if you clean up your diet, that's going to go a long way towards, achieving your good metabolic markers, getting them in line. So inflammation is completely controlled by what you eat. So
Mhm.
that's one of the big things, right? And then getting to the other pillars also is sleep, right?
Mm.
Sleep is, a big thing. That's where your body regulates its hormones, right?
Yeah,
It's at
yeah.
night when you're sleeping. That's where testosterone, where estrogen, things like that become regulated during
Mhm.
your sleep patterns. So if you have convoluted sleep patterns, what's going to happen is those markers are going to go all whacked out.
Mm.
You're going to be low test, or you're going to be low estradiol, whatever it is that you happen to be low in. So we just have to look at all of these markers. And, once you have these markers by doing your blood test, you're going to know exactly what your inflammation rates are. You're going to know exactly what your cardiovascular health is going to be. That's all in your blood. So
Yeah.
you can address each one of these issues one by one, and sort of bring them up to par, what they're supposed to be for your health span.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what
So I want to
looking at.
add to that, because I think when you're in your 30s and your 40s, probably up until the 40, you kind of feel invincible.
Right.
You
Yeah.
sleep because you're out partying, you're doing,
Yeah.
the regular stuff,
Yeah.
having a hectic corporate life,
Right.
late nights, entertainment, bad diet, etc. And eventually you kind of feel that, it's unsustainable. It's
Right.
got to be a point where you got to reevaluate your life,
Right.
to obviously be in your 50s and 60s, but still feel great and strong, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if I look at myself personally, I think at the age of 51 today, because I've come to a place where I can manage my stress levels much better than I was managing, let's say, 40 or my mid 40s. I felt I aged more in my mid 40s, where I feel I have much more energy today than I had at that time. And for me personally, it's been more of a stress manager. And that has been a chronic for me.
Yeah, you were in the
inability.
corporate world, which
Correct,
is,
yeah.
you're at your desk all day. You're not moving, basically. You're
Mm.
dealing with clients. You're dealing with angry clients, or you're dealing with sales quotas,
Yeah.
things like that. And it affects your minds and
Yeah.
it affects your stress
So you got to
level.
make that personal choice that, if in terms of at least longevity and anti-aging,
Yeah.
fixing up your diet, getting strength training, as you mentioned, trying to get some kind of, regular
Yeah.
sleep, managing your circadian rhythm to optimize it, essentially, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I agree with you. There is a way that you can actually at least reverse,
Yeah.
not reverse completely,
Yeah.
but certainly slow down the process of aging. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that they measure too is mitochondrial function, right? It's
Mhm.
like, is your mitochondria, which is basically the energy in your cells, is
Mhm.
that working properly? You can actually measure that at this point, and how do you fix that if you have low energy, basically? Well, you start strength training again, back to that. It always goes back to those 4 pillars, exactly how it contributes to longevity and a good health span, So every time we mention longevity, I'm just meaning health span, not necessarily living longer, but living longer better.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the main points right there. I mean, number 2 is chronic inflammation, right? Another a measurable marker, right? So getting your diet under control. You're sitting at a desk, and what are you going to eat? You're going to eat a sandwich, you're going to eat some chips, you're going to have a Coke, not even a Diet Coke, but you're going to have a Coke, you're going to have whatever, right? And then you go out at night and you're going to have a few beers, some martinis, the way it was in our generation, the martini lunches, etc. But you do that on a daily basis, it starts to catch up with you, and so you have to fix all of those at the same time. So we're looking at sleep, right? That's the other thing we're talking about, is just because it regulates hormones, during your sleep cycle. If you can get your sleep under control, it's going to regulate your hormone levels, and you're going to feel better, right? You're going to get up nice and refreshed rather than exhausted, at the same time. And I mean, there's a number of other things you can do to sort of fix your cellular network, your metabolism. And one of those things, I know we have some friends that do a lot of fasting, right?
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
Like right now we're in Ramadan. So Ramadan, it's a fasting. You're fasting all day till nighttime, not even water.
Yeah.
So because of that, it's one of the most studied protocols in the world, because there's so many people worldwide that actually practice their faith, and because of practicing their faith, they do this this fasting.
Yeah.
So there's so much research out there that shows that in a positive direction.
Benefits of it.
So many benefits. Especially autophagy, which is one of the things that what does autophagy do? Basically, it cleans out your old dead cells, right? and it has a renewal of your cellular network. It has a renewal of, everything within your body, your whole metabolism, basically.
And I just to add for my own kind of understanding, my understanding is the first 12 or 14 hours of fasting, you go through the process of ketosis.
Right.
After 18 hours, that's when autophagy kicks in.
Yeah.
So I've read and I've heard people who do like 36, 48, 72 hours fasting.
Yeah.
And they come out saying that they feel completely regenerated. Yeah.
I've done 72 hours before, and it does reduce your fat levels, and it does sort of, rebalance your hormones and things like that.
Right.
And of course, autophagy is the big thing, right? So and all of a sudden you're healing your cells and everything's coming together. A lot of people also practice intermittent fasting, right? Which is 18-6 basically. So 18 hours you're not eating anything, and you're just eating within that 6-hour window. So that controls food also at the same time. And they're saying there's some benefits to that also. Some people disagree with that, but I think that there's some major benefits there also, because your digestive system, everything is being relaxed, basically. It's not working, right? So you can use all that energy that instead of digesting food, there's still going to be food in your intestinal tract from the day before, but at the same time, it's using a lot more energy towards healing things, right? So some people use fasting as a healing protocol also, right?
So when you did your 72-hour fast, did you feel that you actually had more energy?
I did. You sort of get this clarity after a day and a half. After 24 hours, you start getting this mental clarity at the same time. And your brain starts working on ketones, which is a byproduct of fasting, basically. So your body switches from glucose as a fuel to fats as a fuel, and you start consuming the fats in your body as fuel instead. And suddenly you get this mental clarity, which is, it's nice to experience. It really is. It's tough. And then all of a sudden you're not really hungry anymore. So after that first 24, 36 hours, like, okay, I can push it to the 72 hours or whatever. That's not something I'd recommend somebody do, every single month. But, every now and then when you want to reset your metabolism and reset your mind and, think a little bit clearer, you go through a fast like that of 72 hours.
I was trying to link it up because sometimes when you have a bad diet, generally, you suffer from brain fog.
Right.
Ever have that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I can understand when you're saying that you have mental clarity.
Yeah.
Linking it to when you get the brain fog with a bad diet, right?
So brain fog is a big part of, basically a bad diet and not sleeping, So it's actually easier to sleep when you're fasting. For some reason, you're able to fall asleep. Again, you're not processing food in your intestines, etc., especially after 24 or 36 hours. And suddenly all that energy is being redirected towards, cleaning up everything, so it cleans up, your mental clarity comes back, your muscles feel better. It's just everything sort of comes together. So I'd recommend somebody try that, once or twice and see how that fits into their lifestyle, because it all comes down to, most of these metabolic factors, most of these health span sort of goals are basically going back down to those 4 pillars, right? And we keep going back to that only because that's the basis of all of this, right? So it doesn't matter. You can't really clean up a bad diet with fasting also, right?
Sure.
You have to, sort of cleanse yourself. You can use it as a cleanse to start. Maybe, that's a good way to actually start your good health journey is you start a fast. Let's say you do a 24-hour or 36 or 72-hour fast. If you have the balls to do that, so a lot of people don't.
I've tried a 24-hour fast.
Yeah.
That was pretty tough.
Yeah, it's tough. The 24-hour one is tough because, you still haven't, hit that state of nirvana, that comes at 36 hours or so, where you start getting all this mental clarity and, you start, talking to God or whatever, you look at all the biblical references, right? They're sitting on top of a mountain, whatever, and the mental clarity, they're fasting. Basically, that's it. They're fasting. Buddhism does it. Muslims do it. Catholics do it. Protestants do it. Everybody does that. That's part of their, there's a reason for that too. I think it goes back millennia for mankind. I think our bodies were used to, feasting or famine, right? So you reset that body. I think maybe our body is designed for that to begin with. Like you have feast, you kill something, you eat it, and then you can't kill another thing for another.
Well, man was designed as a hunter.
Yeah,
So they would
exactly.
hunt and they would eat well they hunt. So
Yeah.
the meal was once a day.
Yeah. If once a day, and then
once a day, right?
you didn't have a refrigerator, you couldn't keep your food, so it rots away, and you can't eat it, and then you have to go and kill something else, right?
Yeah.
And it might be 3 or 4 days, 72 hours later, suddenly you have food again, right? So our bodies were designed that way, and for a reason. So all of a sudden, every day now we're eating, we're snacking all the time. Our bodies are not really made for that, and that's the thing. That's why. Fat storage is basically a survival mechanism, right? So all you're doing is you're saving future fuel. That's what fat is. It's just fuel for the future. Your body's going, well, I better save this for that famine that's coming because we know that's coming, right? So, we just have to look at it that way. So if we go back to basics, and some people go to the extreme, they do a paleo diet, which is just some people do seafood with it. Some people don't do seafood or just meat or carnivore or something like that. So we just have to look at it that way. It's our ancestral sort of baseline, going back to that. And it cleanses out the whole system. And that's what the system wants. It's some kind of a cleanse to start. So maybe one of the good ways of doing this whole nutritional strategy is by starting off with maybe a fast. Let's say 36-hour fast or 24-hour fast, something like that, to give it a little kickstart, and then get away from the refined sugars and the refined carbs and the refined everything, and go back to the whole foods and start your journey from there. I think you'll feel better and you'll take it to the next level.
Are there any, in your experience, are there any supplements or anything that you have tried or recommend in terms of helping the aging process or slowing down the aging process?
There's a number of things, right? So, the research is really unproven in that. It's coming along, it's developing rapidly. A lot of the supplements, there's one that does work called NAD+, right? So the NAD levels in your blood sort of go down over time as you age, right? You don't have as much NAD in your system as you age, especially getting to your 50s and 60s. I supplement with NAD+, and sometimes I'll do a drip, like if I'm in Phuket or someplace like that. I find that it just boosts my energy levels big time.
Right.
There's other things, right? So there's other things you can supplement with also, but the science is unproven in that, but I do experiment with it. One is peptides. There's a bunch of different longevity peptides at the same time.
Yeah.
That's coming along. That's not 100% proven yet. So we'll have to see what the research says. But that's kind of the leading edge stuff, right?
But when you talk about, for example, peptides, does that improve or is it supposed to improve your markers, your blood markers, in order that you anticipate that you're actually, reversing time?
Well, you have to remember what a peptide is. It's not quite a protein. It's just a bunch of amino acids that aren't as big as a protein, right? So what they do, they're just on and off signaling switches. So you're giving your body signals, right? Like turn this off, turn this on, right? Like for instance, you're looking at something like MOTS-c. MOTS-c is a mitochondrial. All right. So it's just telling the peptide is telling your mitochondria to go ahead and start working a little bit faster. So you'll find that, the experiment that they did was they took obese rats, right, in a cage, and they took well-trained rats on a treadmill, that are, very athletic because they're running on this treadmill all the time.
Right.
So, and they had a little sprint test and they had a VO2 max test, basically, is what they did, the rat equivalent of a VO2 max test.
Right.
So they gave MOTS-c to the obese rats, and they didn't give any to the control rats, which were the athletically trained rats. And the obese rats actually outperformed in cardio function by 72% the obese rats. So it does work. It's telling your DNA, basically, it's telling your mitochondria to go ahead and work a little bit harder and a little bit faster. So your VO2 max goes through the roof, basically. That's why it's banned in certain athletic sports. So if you're a long distance runner or you're a sprinter or you're in athletics, it's on the WADA list. So you can't use that type of stuff because it's basically like cheating. Even though it's just a signaling molecule, it's nothing that you're adding to your body that's like a steroid. It's nothing like that. It's just
So
telling your body.
have these been around for a while?
They've been
Peptides?
around. Yeah, peptides, basically, most of these peptides are like Russian based from the Soviet Union back in the 50s. That's when they started all this stuff,
Right.
And a lot of these peptides are being used in the Eastern Bloc, the former Eastern Bloc, in clinical settings. So there's lots of research from there, right? They use it in clinical settings. But here, basically in North America and everywhere else in the world, like none of it's really approved yet. It's coming along. I know that the US is now going to be approving, I think, 17 different peptides that can be compounded in pharmacies for you know, people's use. So if they want to use it, right now it's banned. It's research only purposes.
Right.
So basically, you become your own lab rat at this point. You know, I have a lot of lab rats. You know, so I try to use it myself.
Right.
But I'm a big believer in peptides. I sort of think that they do work.
Right.
But I mean, the human-based research is very limited on it.
Right.
So you are experimenting with yourself. But then again, it's very safe, I think. You know, this is just my, you know, I'm not a doctor. I think they are very safe only because they're signaling molecules. You're just telling your body to switch things off, switch things on, like fat burning, turn that on. You know, your metabolic rate, bring it up a little bit, you know, do things like that. And that's easily done with peptides at this point because there's so many and there's more coming out all the time. So we'll keep an eye on that research as
it's
it
interesting
evolves.
because we're all in the place right now where we all are trying to think, as we think about longevity, we're all thinking about, okay, how do we kind of reverse time or reverse our age, or at least slow down that process? So as you mentioned, the 4 pillars, of course, right? And having a good lifestyle, to be honest. You know?
I think that, you know, 90% of this is, you know, any dysfunction that you do have, I think 90% of this dysfunction is controlled through lifestyle. It really is, you know. So if you have a bad lifestyle, if you don't move during the day, your body's made to move. It's made to, you know, walk. It's made to run. It's made to climb. It's made to carry. So if you don't involve yourself in those functions, you're going to have some metabolic distress coming along, especially over a long period of time.
I see 40-year-olds looking older than 60-year-olds. And when I look at them, I'm totally surprised. And I see 6-year-olds looking like they're 40, right? And they've managed to just, you know, maintain a good, and it's never too late to start. You can start at any age, to be honest, right? Absolutely.
I mean, that's the big thing, right? It's like, you know, when do you start? The sooner the better. The aging process really starts at 30. You know, as soon as you hit 30, that's where it all really starts to come. Your hair gets a little grayer. You start to slow down. You put on visceral fat, etc. Especially if you're sedentary. You know, if you're sedentary, that's the number one killer of all, you know, humans at this point. It's just not moving and not doing your primal functions. You know, so. How do you alleviate that? You have to start moving. You know, you have to start lifting stuff. You have to start carrying stuff. You have to start walking. You have to start running, etc. All the primal movements that are built into your DNA. You have to obey that DNA. You know, if you don't, and you're constantly eating, snacking all day, I mean, what happens? You just become obese. And what does obesity bring on? You know, it brings on, you know, diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, it brings along, you know, joint inflammation, you know, all the different markers go completely wacko. And
there is an importance to have in your diet forms of antioxidants too.
I mean, antioxidants are, I mean, some people overdo it a little bit because oxidative stress, actually some of it is good, it's beneficial. Some people take too many antioxidants, you know, and they screw that up all the way to the other end. You know, there's good, there's bad, there's a medium for all of this, you know, but, you know, just healthy vegetables, green leafy vegetables, and just having your, you know, your good vegetable diet, you know, because it also gives you fiber at the same time, which helps you eliminate, you know, all the toxins in your system, you know, through your small and large intestine.
I've noticed some people suffer from, I'm not saying a psychological disorder, but within that antioxidant, you know, process that you're thinking about, they just go with all the supplements that are available on the market, and they'll have a cabinet full, and it's totally unnecessary. As you mentioned, everything's available through the diet.
Yeah.
pretty much, right?
Yeah, if you can, eliminate 90% of that stuff and just, like we talked about yesterday,
Yeah.
it's supplements are exactly that word. It's a supplemented diet.
Yeah.
So if you keep your leafy green vegetables, your broccoli, your asparagus, and, all the good vegetables, you just keep consuming them as part of your regular diet.
Yeah.
It's gonna help you 100%. Yeah.
It's time for the rapid fire round. Anthony, fire away.
All right, build muscle after 50, possible or myth?
I'm living through it right now, so it's definitely possible.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so heavy weights or light weights for longevity?
Heavy weights.
Heavy weights. Well, I mean, there's a caveat to that, right? The caveat is, up to 30 reps.
Okay.
All right, so some people might say that's lightweight, pushing 30 reps. You're not going to push 30 reps heavy weights.
So what I've heard is actually that women past the age of 50, specifically, they should be doing heavy weights. Is that correct? Yeah.
Well, it's for, heavy weights for us, it's going to be different than heavy weights for, it's individual, right? So we just have to look at it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're right. Yeah.
So let me ask you, do you feel older or younger since training?
Oh, I definitely feel younger since training.
Yeah? Definitely look at it.
But I wish I was 30, but I'm still 30.
One more for you. Hardest part, starting or staying consistent?
Staying consistent. Yeah. Starting is never a problem for me. It's staying consistent, right?
Right.
No distractions.
Yeah. I think a lot of people suffer from that.
Yeah, exactly. Something happens, we'll screw the training today.
Yeah.
And then you feel guilty.
Yeah.
And then the next day you're pushing even harder, know. But
But life happens sometimes and unexpectedly.
100%.
So.
Yeah.
But it's about getting back on track.
Yeah. Okay, how about this one for you? Protein shakes, helpful or hype?
I think it's helpful.
Yeah, it is. That's one of the supplements I think it is helpful.
Yeah.
It is a synthetic food, but at the same time, I see so many people struggling with their protein intake, which is a big part of our pillars.
Yeah.
This is just going to be helpful.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I remember yesterday there was the same question, which one supplement you think is a non-negotiable?
Yeah.
And you said protein. I thought you were going to say creatine.
No, creatine. Yeah, I mean, creatine's good.
Yeah.
Creatine is something, especially these days, people are using them for cognitive function. Only, they go into old folks' homes now and they give them 20 grams of creatine only because it lights their brain up, right? So they never, during our time, it was like 5 grams. It's just for your muscle bulk, right?
Right.
But now, all of a sudden, they're finding other useful benefits for it. So, boom, it's being used everywhere.
So I've noticed that when I went from 5 and I went to 15 over like a period of a week, my alertness was definitely there.
It does little things like that, and it does. It's also the most researched compound that there is, So I mean, something that's naturally in meat anyway.
Yeah.
So you're just taking that and you're expanding on it. Your brain loves it at the same time, and your muscles.
So here's one very relevant to you: joint pain. Push through or pause training?
Well, that's my problem is I should pause training, but I push through. Unfortunately, it's like I wouldn't recommend that for everybody. I just push through because I'm an idiot, but it's just the way it is. Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this one: what improved first, strength, energy, or confidence?
By getting in shape?
Yeah.
I think energy.
Okay, energy is a good one. Yeah. And from energy, you gain your strength and you gain your confidence.
Then you gain confidence,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. This is ask a really old person here. Stairs feel easier now? Yes or no?
I should be asking you that question, right?
No, they don't. Especially now when you have joint pain. It's like, oh shit, the stairs again.
So you've answered that question already.
Yeah.
All right. Strong legs or strong upper body?
Strong legs, I think, is actually a marker for longevity. I'd go with strong legs because I don't have strong legs at this point. This is where I lose it first.
Right.
So because of my joint pain, I sort of try to train around it and I give up. But it's a work in progress. So that's all I can say. Because I'm working on it with my mobility sessions upstairs in the longevity center. So that's it.
Strong legs, because obviously it's the foundation of your whole body, right?
It's how you don't fall down.
Exactly.
Exactly. And how do old people end up in the hospital? Mostly by falling down, right?
100%.
Break a hip, break a leg, whatever, and then a few days later you die. So
yeah.
So that's strong legs for sure. Yeah.
All right, you should be asking me this question.
Most people over 50 struggle with fitness because
Of time.
time. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. How about this one? Muscle after 50 is important because
Muscle after 50 is important because if you want longevity, you got to have
Yeah. Perfect.
maintain whatever muscle mass you can, right?
Yeah, that's staying on topic.
Manage your sarcopenia as best as possible. Yeah?
Yeah.
So here's a question you should be asking me now.
Okay.
6-pack abs or lifelong independence? I wouldn't know the answer because I haven't got my 6-pack yet.
Well, you should be saying lifelong independence, but yeah, I mean, our goals,
Short-term goals versus
yeah,
long-term goals.
we're insane about this kind of stupid shit, right? It's like, yeah, 6-pack. Want to see a 6-pack at 50, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have it at 66 still, so I still feel good about that. But it's just maintaining it sometimes. It's like, yeah, you saw me the first couple of weeks when I was here. I was eating everything in sight,
Yeah.
And it's like, wonder what's wrong with my stomach, So my 6-pack still stayed. That's
still
nice.
stayed, yeah.
Still stayed. Yeah, exactly.
Train 3 times consistently or 6 times inconsistently?
Oh, 3 times consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just need 2 to 4 sessions a week anyway, really, to maintain your muscle and to stress your muscles, to keep them growing. I mean, some people only train 2 times a week and they still grow, I mean, that's old school philosophy. You just train super Mike Menser, train super, super hard, and for those 2 times a week and just push everything to the limit. That's it.
It's funny because I watched a documentary about Dorian Yates yesterday.
Yeah.
And he said, give me 2 times a week, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's all you need.
Yeah.
But then the flip side is when you're addicted to training, you want to come and train.
If you're looking at it from a, de-stressor, potentiator, right?
Yeah.
For me, it de-stresses me. I like being in the gym. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And you get rid of the outside noise and you just turn things off.
Yeah.
So it is a de-stressor for yourself also,
Yeah.
and for me. So it's good. So I wouldn't be able to do 2 days a week. I would be freaking out.
I'll be going crazy. I love working out, and it's something I wake up in the morning, and I'm actually excited to work out.
Yeah.
So that's it's a good
you and me
place to
both.
be,
That's it.
Good place to be. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I see somebody else or I'm training somebody else, I'm going, shit, I wish I could be working out like me this morning.
All right. So we have to finish these sentences. Training after 50 is not dangerous. It's
necessary for longevity, especially. The goal of training after 50 isn't abs. It's back to that again.
I think goes back down to having energy and lifestyle.
Yeah, longevity.
Longevity. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. It's never too late to start because
Tomorrow's another day.
muscle matters. Come on, Flex. Muscle matters, man.
I didn't have my creatine this morning, right? So,
oh, that's what it
on
is.
the ball.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you that one because you didn't nail that one. Strong people age better because
They have muscle.
they
Or
have
carry
muscle. There you go. Yeah, staying on that muscle. Yeah, exactly.
So strength training makes daily life
Easier because it's part of everything, right? It's the main pillar for absolutely everything in your life.
And here's one very relevant to you. Pain and injury happen when people
Don't listen to me.
or don't listen to themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's me, right? Don't listen to me. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Okay. If I started earlier, I would have.
So the sentence is, if I started earlier,
I would have.
I would have been addicted at a much earlier age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good one. Yeah. I would have said I would have eaten more carbs. So what for you?
I'm talking about the longer view.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask you this one. All right. The first results I noticed was
My energy levels.
energy levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.